Hello students, welcome back. Welcome in another video of numerical based on chapter 1. So in today's class, I will be discussing about numerical based on electric flux. We have already did one numerical or one application of electric flux in the last class in which I talked about like how to calculate electric flux from a cube of side A, and it was given to you that you have an electric field in x direction, but I gave you an extension of that numerical and that application, that if you would have an electric field say in y direction or in z direction, then how are you going to calculate electric flux through the surface of the cube? And we have seen that in our case, when we have electric field only in x direction, the contribution of electric flux comes from only two surfaces which is having an area vector in positive x direction, and the another surface which is having an area vector in negative x direction, isn't it? But I explained to you guys that if you would have an electric field saying y component of electric field also exists, then you would have a contribution from electric flux on which area vector is in y direction, say this, isn't it? Or say this, isn't it? Then we have two more surfaces through which we can contribute our flux, or flux contribution from that two surfaces is non-zero. In total, we can say that out of 6 surfaces, if we have electric field in two directions, then only two faces of that cube will contribute to the electric flux. If you have y instead of x, you will have y component as well in the electric field, then obviously four faces of that cube will contribute in the contribute for the electric flux. But if you will have say z component as well, then all the 6 component of that cube will contribute for the flux calculation. Now similarly, I can take another example in which electric field will be given to us, which is uniform for positive x direction and uniform in negative x direction, and it is given as 200 volt per meter, or you can say another unit of electric field we know is Newton per coulomb. Okay, this unit we have derived from force per unit charge. Okay, and unit for volt per meter we have derived from voltage or potential difference per unit length. That's how we have derived unit of electric field. Okay, it can be voltmeter, it can be Newton per coulomb, whatever you feel comfortable with. Okay, now it was asked in this question that find flux through a surface of cylinder of length 20 centimeter, cylinder of length 20 centimeter and radius 5 centimeter. Calculate flux through each surface or total flux, and if you want, you can also calculate what is the charge inside that surface, isn't it? Because you can use Gauss's law as we did in the last lecture, and you can easily calculate that what will be the charge on that surface. Okay, let's move forward then, guys. Let's discuss this problem first, but before that we should define that how electric field is given in this problem. Okay, so electric field is given like 200, let's say volt per meter or Newton per coulomb, both are same. They said electric field for positive x direction is positive. For positive x direction is positive, and for uniform in negative x direction for negative. And minus 200 Newton per coulomb. Okay, say this is x greater than 0, this is x less than 0, isn't it? According to the question, this is totally according to the question. In question itself, they said like you have an electric field of 200 Newton per coulomb or volt per meter in x direction or in positive x direction. For x greater than 0, you have this value of magnetic electric field, and for x less than 0, you have this value of electric field. Okay, for x less than 0, electric field is negative. For greater than 0, electric field is positive. Remember guys, now that question is different from the previous, isn't it? In the previous example, when we took the example of calculation of electric flux from a cubic surface, we saw that in that case electric field is throughout in one direction. Okay, it was in positive x direction throughout whole, like it is totally in positive x direction, whereas in this case it has given that for, if suppose this is my origin, on this side it is 200, it is positive 200 Newton per coulomb, whereas on that side it is negative. Keep that in mind. Okay, and negative means obviously if this is my origin, on this side of that origin the electric field is in this direction, is in positive x direction, whereas on that side electric field will be in negative x direction. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now let's see, find flux, and it is asked that find flux through a surface of cylinder of length 20 centimeter and radius 5 centimeter. Let's see how to do this. Now we should draw a cylindrical surface. Let's say this would be my cylindrical surface. Okay, and let's say this would be my origin. This would be my origin. I'm having positive x here. I'm having negative x here. Simple. So guys, it is said in question that for x greater than 0, you have 200 Newton per Coulomb. So I'm having this electric field. Okay, I'm having this electric field of 200 Newton per Coulomb in positive x direction. Okay, for x greater than 0, because this is my origin. Isn't it? Is it clear? Now, what about for 9 minus x? Exactly diametrically opposite to this, but magnitude will remain the same. Okay, guys. So this is my electric field. This is the drawing of electric field lines. Let's see now. And obviously, this is my plus x. This is minus. I should do it. This is y. We don't have to worry about the y in this case. Why? Because no electric field component exists in y direction, and hence we don't have to worry about the y direction too much. Now let's see. This cylindrical surfaces have three surfaces. Let's say 1. Let's say 2. Let's say 3. Let's say this surface to be 4. Okay. So if you want to calculate flux through this surface, you have to have calculate electric flux through these 1, 2, 3, 4 surfaces, and then we will algebraically add them and we will see what would be my result. Okay. Now let's see. Now we will try to calculate flux through surface number 1. Flux through 1, which is simply, okay guys, let me know. I have discussed, like I have explained 10 minutes in last class in explaining to you guys whether we have to use integration or not in calculation of flux. So in that case, should I go for integration or not? Should I go for integration? Yeah, go on. Obviously not. Obviously not, because on this phase electric field is constant throughout. On that phase electric field will be constant throughout that phase. In this case, this is 0, and electric field is also constant in that phase, isn't it? So if electric field is constant, and constant means both in magnitude as well as in direction, keep that in mind. Constant means both magnitude and direction, and hence contribution of flux will be, we will calculate the flux within simple formula of E without integration, E multiplied by area vector. Okay, and obviously angle between them. So I'm keeping a dot product in between. So what is electric field here? It is 200 Newton per Coulomb in this direction. So let's say 200. Okay, and obviously negative, but we don't have to worry about the negative thing because we already take care of the direction. Okay, now what is the angle between electric field and area vector on surface number 1? Electric field is in this direction. Area vector on this surface is also in this direction because it is always radially outward, and hence angle between these two quantities is absolutely 0. So 200 multiplied by that area multiplied by cos 0. Now it will comes out to be 200 into what is area? Okay, what is the area of this surface? What is area of this surface? What can be the area of this surface? This is simply a circular surface. So we know what is the area of a circular surface. It is simply pi r square. Cos 0 is 1. So 200 multiplied by pi r square, r is 5, 25 divided by 10 to the power 4. Okay, so it is 2 into 25 pi divided by 100, because these two zeros will cancel to 2, so 100, so it is pi upon 2. Okay, and pi is here 3.14. Okay, remember guys, 3.14 divided by 2, pi upon 2. Okay, from phase number 1, let's see what is the contribution of electric flux from phase number 2. Okay, so I should rub it up now. Your length is 20 centimeter. Keep that in mind. I'm rubbing this. I'm rubbing this. Now let's see if length is 20 centimeter. Then obviously this is 10. This is also 10. What about the second phase? Okay, what is the direction of electric field on phase second or surface second? It is either in that direction or either is in this direction. But what is the direction of area vector on this surface, on second surface? It is always upward. Whether I will talk about here, about this point, about this point, about this point, about this point, it is always perpendicular to the direction of the electric field, and hence if it is perpendicular to the direction of the electric field, E2, sorry guys, it has to be phi 2. Phi 2 is simply E multiplied by ds and cos 90. We don't have to worry about this. We don't have to worry about this because cos 90 is vanishes. It is 0 and hence it is 0. Okay. What about the phase number 3? Surface 3. Area vector would be like this. Electric field is always either this or this. Angle is always 90 degree. Similarly, phi 3 comes out to be 0 again. Why? Because cos 90 vanishes. Okay. So we have calculated electric flux from the individual surfaces, like from surface number 1, surface number 2 and surface number 4. What about surface number 3? Let's see. What about surface number 3? So phi on 3 is simply E dot ds. Okay guys, let me know. Should I use integration in that case also? Obviously not, because electric field is constant. Constant means both in magnitude and direction on surface number 3, and hence my phi will be E dot ds. E is 200, obviously positive in this case, multiplied by delta, which is pi r square into cos 0. Okay, so it is again 200 into pi into r square. R is 25 upon 100 into 1 by 100, because I am keeping things not in centimeter, in meter. So I have to divide it by 10 to the power 4. So these two guys will cancel these two guys. So I am again getting pi by 2. Okay. So this is my result of flux, or unit of flux is Newton per Coulomb meter square. Same here, Newton per Coulomb meter square. Okay, now let me know what will be my total flux. Let's see total flux. Total flux through this cylindrical surface . Okay, what will happen? Simply add all these quantities, phi 2, phi 3 plus phi 4. Okay, so what is phi 1? It is simply pi by 2 plus 0 plus pi by 2 plus 0. It is simply pi, and pi is 3.14. Obviously Newton per Coulomb meter square. That should be my final answer. Okay guys, I should ask you one thing. Like, you can think intuitively that electric field, okay, I should draw this like as well. Area of this vector is, this surface is also pi r square. Okay, yeah guys, I can ask you one thing, like by solving this numerical, you can think like, okay, flux we are calculating on this surface. Okay, it can, what is the direction of the flux on this surface, isn't it opposite? Isn't it opposite? The direction of the flux on this surface and this surface is opposite, because electric field is going in this direction and electric field is going in that direction on that surface. So what should I do? Should I add them or subtract them? I am hoping that you are getting the answer, because electric flux is a scalar quantity. Okay, it tells us about the number of electric field lines crossing any area perpendicularly in unit time. Okay, so electric flux is a scalar quantity, so we don't have to worry about the direction. You just focus on the magnitude. That's why I simply add pi by 2 and pi by 2. It comes out to be pi only, which is 3.14 in our case. Okay, so you don't have to worry about the direction because it is a scalar quantity. And obviously it is a scalar quantity because it simply tells us what it tells us physically. What it tells us? It tells us that it is a quantity which describe number of lines crossing any area perpendicularly. Like on this surface, let's say two number of electric field lines crossing that area perpendicularly. On this surface, two number of electric field lines are crossing that surface here perpendicularly in unit time. Then electric flux will be something like 2 plus 2, 4. Or it has to be 4 from, it has to be 4 from, like from intuition or from our knowledge, basic knowledge, like as it is from definition, it says number of electric field lines crossing that area perpendicularly. Obviously, two electric field lines crossing that area perpendicularly on this side, two electric field lines crossing that area perpendicularly on that side, and hence 2 plus 2 has to be 4. Okay. So in total, I can say 4 number of electric field lines in that surface crossing that area perpendicularly. Okay. I will not say like this, like 2 are crossing in that direction, 2 are crossing in that direction. So 2 will cancel out, it comes out to be 0. No. As it is a number, number is a scalar quantity. Okay. As it is a number of electric field lines crossing area perpendicularly. So it has to be 2 plus 2, isn't it? If suppose you would have an electric field in that direction, let's say this, 2 electric field lines will cross that area like this, 2 like this, then obviously what would be the total number of electric field lines crossing that area perpendicularly? Yeah, let me know. It should be 8 then, 2, 2, 4, 6 and 8, isn't it? So flux is a scalar quantity. So that's how you will calculate flux, and you can easily calculate the charge inside the boundary, charge inside the surface simply by applying Gauss's law, which says phi is equal to q by epsilon naught. So phi in our case is pi, and q you want to calculate, that is our aim, and epsilon naught. And we all know 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught is 9 into 10 to the power 9. So let's see, let's do that calculation. So q enclosed is simply pi multiplied by epsilon naught, and epsilon naught is pi 1 upon 4 pi into 9 into 10 to the power 9. Okay, so it is 1 upon 36 into 10 to the power minus 9, or 10 upon 36 into 10 to the power minus 10 coulomb of charge will be enclosed in that surface, okay, due to this electric field. Okay guys, so this is it. These are the calculations of electric flux, how to calculate electric flux from numerically. And while doing the numericals, I am most sure, like I am 100% sure you guys now knows that what is electric flux, how to calculate it. You guys now have much better idea of calculation of electric flux, or what physically is electric flux. Okay, after solving these numericals, you can now easily get that what is electric flux and how it helps us in calculating magnetic flux or total charge in that surface, and that because of a famous scientist Gauss's law. Okay, so thanks to Gauss, okay, that who makes our life simple. Okay, so this is it guys, this is it for this lecture. And yes, it's a bit kind of achievement for us, like we have already finished the numericals of chapter number 2. From next lecture onwards, we will be dealing with the numericals of chapter number 2, which is electric potential and capacitances. So from now onwards, we will see how to calculate, how to solve numericals of based on electric potential and electric capacitances, isn't it? Potential is always a simpler thing in an electric field because we don't have to worry about the direction, because potential is a vector quantity. Okay, so keep that in mind. It is always much simpler to go for potential than electric field because potential is a scalar quantity. So you will see when we will solve numericals for potential, you guys will see that we don't have to much worry about the direction at all. It will be very simple. Potential for a positive charge has to be positive, and potential for a negative charge has to be negative. You will see that we will get the, you can easily solve numericals for potential. Okay, and then we will move towards the capacitance. That would be end of numericals of unit 1 or chapter 2 as well. Okay guys, so this is it for this class. I will be meeting you in the next class with some more stuff. Thank you guys, thank you so much, thanks for your time.